Hi everybody and welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So I finally have my weekly wrap up for you. I'm not going to bother you with all the excuses of why I haven't filmed this yet. It's just busy and I barely read anything and yeah. The end of May is getting crazy just because my last day of school is June 10th. So like report card city, just stress city. I'm interviewing to hopefully keep my job pretty much. So hopefully I'll know by the end of this week if I get to stay or if I have to keep looking, which stinks. So just so much going on, and it's wedding season and it's Memorial Day. Well, it's Sunday, but Memorial Day party today, so I got my bow. So let's just get started. I only have 2 books to share with you. Like I said, craziness. So the first book that I read was Sister Dear by Laura McNeil, and this book was sent to me by Fiction Guild. Oh my goodness. So by the Fiction Guild, and I was so nervous to pick this up because a couple days before I got this book, I actually saw Amanda in PA write a review, and she gave it 3 stars. I didn't really read like why she gave it 3 stars. I just saw 3 stars and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have problems. So I kind of went into this book with really low expectations because she had told me when I hauled this book that it wasn't that great because I've read so many thrillers and it's just not that intense. So I picked it up expecting nothing. And I think by going in expecting nothing, I got everything because I gave this book 5 stars. I actually really enjoyed this. This isn't exactly like a thriller. It's got twists and turns. It's got a mystery, but it's not like intense. It kind of reminds me of like the less intense like Diane Chamberlain books. That kind of like it's a mystery and then there's kind of a twist, but it's not supposed to like rock your world kind of thing. So I actually really enjoyed this and I gave it 5 stars. It follows a woman who gets out of jail after 10 years and she was in jail for a crime that she claims that she didn't commit. So it kind of is her trying to like go back into the world, try to reconnect with her daughter, her family, her friends, and try to figure out who really did commit this crime. And it follows 4 different perspectives. It follows her perspective, her sister's perspective, who's been raising her daughter's perspective, who is now in high school and does not really want her mother to be home, and the sheriff, who was like basically in charge of this whole thing from the get-go, like arresting kind of thing. And now he's like, now that she's back in town, like what he's thinking. So I thought this was really good. I feel like if you want to just go, like, I don't want you to go in thinking this is going to be the best book ever, because I think if you go into it expecting not something intense, you go in expecting not for it to rock your world, I think it'll be really good for you. So I totally recommend it. I had a lot of fun with it. And the interesting thing is this is actually supposed to be a Christian fiction, I think, and I don't think there was anything Christian fiction about this. So if you look it up and you see Christian fiction and get nervous, I wouldn't be, because it wasn't. And then I picked up The Last Boy and Girl in the World by Siobhan Vivian. This book took me a couple days to get through. It looks really fat, but I think it's only like 300 and... Oh no, it's over 400 pages. Never mind. It is over 400 pages. But I was kind of let down by this book. I was really excited to read this book because I've read the Burn for Burn trilogy that she co-wrote with Jenny Han, and I've always wanted to read a book that was solely by her because I've read so many like just Jenny Han books that I wanted to try a Siobhan Vivian book. And then when I heard this book was coming out, I was like, that's it, that's the one that I'm going to read by her, because I've been trying to get the list, but I just have never picked it up. So when I saw this one that day that I was like just buying everything, I bought this one. And this one has such an interesting premise. This girl is living in this town and it's starting to flood. they're getting like intense rain, and their people are torn on, do we stay here? Do we leave? Because the town is doing these big, huge payouts to leave, and the parents are really dealing with that, but then a lot of the kids are just kind of like, let's party, this is like the end of the world kind of thing. And there's this boy that she has always really loved, and he's never really noticed her, so she's like, this is my chance to get him. So she kind of, it's like her journey with that. Keely is probably the most annoying character I've read in a while, and I've read a lot of annoying characters, so she's just up there. She's one of those people that you can't decide, does she want to be sitting in a corner, or does she want to be the life of the party? Like, it's very hard to tell what she wants in this. I just really don't like her, and a lot of the decisions she makes, and I understand her situation, I understand she's 17, but a lot of the things she does, I'm like, are you for real right now? That you really just did that? And even like the boy she likes, I'm not too 100% sold on him either, but I loved the mom, and I loved her best friend Morgan, and I felt like those two characters are who kept this story real and made the story what it was. There's a lot of plot which I thought was really interesting, like this concept of a place that's flooding and why they think it's flooding is so interesting to me, and I thought that was really good. The ending was really like hit home, and it was really a punch. It wasn't that happily ever after that you would normally expect. The love story, though, I guessed that very early on in the book, so I wasn't as surprised by it at the end. So that was a little disappointing. So overall, I gave this 3 stars. I think it's an interesting book, especially for the plot, but just you have to get past that main character, Keely, first, because she's just Keely. And I've noticed by looking at all the reviews, everybody else has said the same thing, that Keely is just not a good character, unfortunately. And then the book that I'm currently reading, and I definitely need to get through it because there's that book that I need to read by June 8th, so I need to get through this. I started it yesterday, but then we went to the mall and another barbecue, so I just didn't really get to read yesterday. So I started Lies You Wanted to Hear by James Whitfield Thompson. I'm not very far. I'm like 109 pages in out of not 400, definitely not 400. It is out of 388. So I've got a good chunk still left. I think this guy who wrote this book is like 60 or something like that, and this was like his very first ever published book, so I think that was pretty interesting. So far it's alright. It follows this girl named Lucy, who is also kind of another annoying character, just saying. And she, right now, like, the epilogue shows like she has 2 children, but she's left them. We don't know why, but then it goes kind of back into the past really quickly. Like, it shows you that snippet, but then it goes right to the past and her journey of finding love. And it dual perspectives right now in part 1. It's Lucy and Matt, and I'm guessing that as you get to like part 2, maybe Matt disappears. I'm not sure because obviously I haven't finished it yet, but hopefully I'll finish this tomorrow because there's no school for Memorial Day, so hopefully I can get through this one. So we'll see. What good book